welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We have a lot to get into. We're talking about Russell Westbrook's impressive night last night, plus Jimmy Garoppolo is very upset by a move that the 49ers made, and we're going to get into all of that in just a second. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
Jackie?
What? Oh, God. So, I'm like, what? What do you need? All right, you guys, you know what time it is. It is Taco Tuesday. That was hilarious. I was literally like, what? What is it?
I know, I had a feeling that would happen again. But yes, you guys, it is Taco Tuesday. So if you have not made your plans to get tacos at some point, this is your reminder to do so right away. I do not think I'm going to be having tacos, and I realized I very rarely have tacos on Taco Tuesday, which I think I need to start changing. Although last week I did get tacos and margaritas, and for me, a margarita, really hits me quite quickly, so it made work on Wednesday a little bit tough. I'm not sure if any of you noticed, but was not feeling like I was on my A game.
I wish I could say that. Vodka. That's why. Well, not even vodka. Tequila hits me tough, so maybe it would. But I'm just like, mixed drinks don't hit me at all. Like, that's why I think I take shots so much. Mixed drinks, nothing at all.
Wow. For me, it's any drink. Any drink, if I have two, I'm done for the night. I don't know why I'm like this. I just can't handle my alcohol, which is not a good thing. I'm a fun person to go out with, but if I just have a little bit too much, then it's just annoying. So I'm really good at keeping things together. Let's jump into the news, you guys. I see Jeremiah Smith said, what did porn star Jimmy do this time? Jimmy didn't do anything. And also, yes, Jackie, you're absolutely right. That is my man. So there will be absolutely no trash talking allowed in the chat because I love Jimmy G. But no, we're going to be getting into that in just a second because first I want to talk about Russell Westbrook a little bit. So Russ had a history-making night last night. He finished with 35 points on 14 for 26 shooting, including 4 for 6 from three-point range, 21 assists and 14 rebounds. The triple-double, which was his 16th of the season, moved him past Darrell Walker for the most by any player to ever wear a Washington jersey, and he did it in just 38 games. He also became the third player in NBA history to author a 30-20-10 triple-double, and so he's joining Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson in that kind of exclusive club, I guess we can call it. And now he's 20 triple-doubles away from breaking Oscar's career record of 181. After the game, when asked if he might reach that mark this season, he said, "I'm not sure, man. I'm just trying to get to the playoffs. If it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't." Now, Russell, clearly had a very remarkable night last night, but is this really kind of all a waste since he never wins a ring, Jackie?
I mean, it's never a waste because you can't go out there and not try and not play. You know what I mean? You're paid to do this. He loves the game. If we don't know anything else about Russell Westbrook, we can tell that he genuinely is head over heels in love with basketball. So to go out there and not really play just because you're like, oh, it doesn't mean anything, that's not who he is as a person. And quite frankly, we would not like him if he was. We wouldn't like anybody if they just were like, oh, this is a losing team, and so we're not going to do anything. One of the reasons why we all advocate for Bradley Beal is because he goes out there and puts it on the line every single night, even though he knows it's not going to amount to anything. So, no, I don't think it's a waste. You still have to go out there. You still have to do your best. You still have to do what you're capable of doing, and you just have to hope that the organization gets it together, at a later date because it's not going to happen this season. But you just have to put it all on the line every single night for sure.
So do you feel like he needs to make a move to a blockbuster team in the same way that James Harden did? Or do you think that now his focus can really just be on his own personal accolades and getting into the Hall of Fame?
I would have to see. And here's the thing: you could move people and bring them over to Washington. It'd be a tougher thing. But I think when you have Bradley Beal there and Russell there, then you can get another one or two more guys and make things happen. But because then all of a sudden we're going to talk. The narrative about him is going to change. One of the things we love about Russell right now is he's that fighter. He's in there. He's doing his thing. And then it's going to become, oh, he couldn't get it done. Because KD still hasn't lived that down, which is a little different because you did leave OKC to go to the team you couldn't beat. So maybe that's a little different versus Russell, he was traded. So maybe that's a little bit different in his situation. Maybe he now should, instead of just waiting for a trade, maybe he should just say, this is where I want to go. These are the people I want to play with. Maybe he does that in Washington, though. Maybe he and Bradley Beal can get together and say, look, instead of just letting this kind of float, let's make these demands together. So, but he definitely, if he wants to win a championship, it's an either or situation. Either you try to go to another team or you get together with Bradley Beal and you say, these are the demands we're going to make this run actually viable for us. It's an either or situation.
So do you think that Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are actually not asking for, making those kinds of demands? Do you think that they're both just kind of sitting back and seeing what happens? Because I would imagine that two players like that, they would be talking with the people that they need to make sure they get what they, the supporting lineup that they need to actually have a successful run.
I don't think that about Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal kind of wants to be the guy that got Washington over the hump, just period, regardless of what they do, in the front office. I just don't, I could be wrong, but I don't think that Bradley Beal is that guy. I think Russell is, but Russell just got there. So his voice needed to take time to develop. And I definitely can tell you now, conversations are probably going to be had. And maybe, who knows, maybe now Bradley, now that he has this wingman who's more vocal, because, Russell is not scared. Anything you want to say about Russell, him being scared of anything or anybody, that's not who he is. So maybe now that'll bring out something in Bradley, and together they can provide this collective voice to the front office to say, look, you guys have tried it your way for however long. It's not working. This is what we think will work. Let's try this. So hopefully together they can make that happen. But Bradley by himself, I don't think so. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right about Russell being a very outspoken person. So, hopefully they'd be willing to listen and provide him with what he needs. I know we would like to see him win a ring. We would like to see him have that successful, run in the postseason. But I don't know, the way the Wizards were looking, have been looking, aside from last night, Russell was, on fire. So it'll be interesting. We want him to do well. Someone in here said, who was it? Let me find it. I think someone said, Gary Turbo said Westbrook to Philadelphia. What do you think about that?
Oh, God. Ooh. That thought never crossed my mind. I'm with that, though. That would be insane. I'm with that because that changes. That speeds up their whole offense. Everything speeds up for them. And I think that would be amazing. I never even thought of that. I don't know who said that, but I like that.
Gary.
Okay, Gary. I like that. I never even thought of that one. That's a good one. I love that. I also think that, the fact that Russell broke this record already in Washington speaks volumes about what that franchise is. You shouldn't be over there breaking this record already. You just got there, which just something is missing in that front office to me. And they do need a player or players to kind of, take that star quality and be like, this is what you need to do to keep me, period. And they kind of need to step up like that. But if they don't, that whole Philly thing, okay, let's get Gary a job in Washington. You go to the front office and make something happen for them, because Washington is not doing it at all.
I know. They really aren't. Actually, Scott Brooks, talked about Russell Westbrook's amazing night, and he said, quote, he does things that I've never seen. He's not perfect, and a lot of times the geniuses want to look at the other things that he doesn't do well, but sometimes they forget about the other things that he does well. Do you think that it's possible that the Wizards might actually start thinking about building a team around Russell Westbrook for future seasons?
And now you build around Bradley. You build around Bradley, but now you have this duo that you can build around both. And Russell has a lot more hash marks in the what he does right column than he does what he does wrong column. I know people don't like that he's always on this, hero ball, as we call it, but that's how he plays. He's also very coachable, though. I've seen him slow down when necessary, and even when he got to Washington, he was slightly different. He's back to who he's supposed to be now. But, I've always said this. If you are the type of coach who can instill faith in your players, they will adjust accordingly, because that's all of them want to win. So I think you still build around Bradley, but you just realize that this is probably the first piece in that building process, and you continue to build. You can't do it with just Bradley or just Russ. And that's the thing. People always talk about these super teams. I'm going to get into that a little bit later and what we're not going to do, but it's always at least 3 people. You need at least 3 people to build your team around. You got 2. Now let's start thinking about who that third piece is and go from there. If we can get 4, cool, but you need to focus on that third piece for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Let's jump into our next news story about my boyfriend, Jimmy Garoppolo. He is not a... Just had to throw that in there. Jimmy Garoppolo is not very happy right now. So over the weekend, the Miami Dolphins really switched everything up about the upcoming draft after they sent the number 3 pick to San Francisco for the number 12 pick, and then the Dolphins then traded to the Eagles. And then despite what social media was buzzing with right after that, multiple reports have come out that say the 49ers are planning on holding on to Jimmy until to keep him through the 2021 season. Matt Mayoko, I have a hard time with that name, received word of how the quarterback is actually feeling about the trade news, and he is not happy with how things played out. He said, quote, "I did hear that Kyle reached out to Jimmy and had a talk with him on Friday. The word is that Jimmy was very disappointed that the 49ers felt that they had to make that move, trading up from number 12 to number 3 to get the quarterback of the future." Another source told ESPN that Jimmy is here to stay. He's our guy this year. Now, Jimmy did miss 23 of the possible 48 regular season games because he's had multiple injuries to his knee and ankle over the past 3 seasons. So, that's just a point worth mentioning. But he obviously sees this as a slap in the face and thinks that they're already making plans for his replacement. Do you feel that Jimmy has a right to be upset by this move, or should he have seen this coming?
He can feel how he feels. I understand that because, we've all thought that Jimmy could be the next coming of something. We've just not had that opportunity to see that. I'm sure he feels in his heart that he still has a lot left in the tank, but history has proven that you are injury prone. So this is a very strategic business move. It's a very smart move on the behalf of the 49ers, because you can't bet your future on a hope and a dream. You have to bet it on facts. And the fact is that you don't know if Jimmy's going to be able to make it a full season. You don't know that yet. So there's a lot that we just don't know. Yes, we know that Bill Belichick wanted to keep Garoppolo, and he wanted to move on from Tom Brady. That is his biggest accolade right now, is that Belichick thought he was the quarterback of the future to take over for Tom Brady. Have we seen, I'm not talking about what Belichick has said, have we seen anything that supports that? No. And that's not entirely his fault, because he hasn't been in there enough for us to see that. Yes, we've seen flashes of greatness, but we've seen flashes of, Ryan Fitzpatrick has flashes of greatness, but I would never call that man great, So just because you have a few flashes doesn't mean that now we can bet the farm on you. Yes, you are our guy this year. Hopefully, you can be our guy for the next couple of years, and then we can do things right, because the 49ers have a history of this. They had Joe Montana in there forever. Steve Young was sitting under Joe Montana, and then Steve Young came out and was a little bit better. So they have this history of having a really dope quarterback with a young guy sitting behind him. So Jimmy should probably check the history books and realize this doesn't mean they want to move on from you. This means they know they might have to, because number one, you can't stay healthy. Number two, if you can stay healthy, that's perfect, but you're not going to play until you're 100 years old. You're not going to be Tom Brady. It's highly unlikely that you're going to be Tom Brady and play into your 40s. That's not going to happen. So if we can still get a young guy who can sit under you and learn from you, and then when the time comes, we just transition very smoothly without missing a beat, that's just good business. And if he feels some type of way about that, then he just does, but it's still good business.
So you don't view this move by the 49ers as their, pretty blatant attempt to just outright replace Jimmy G. You view it as an opportunity for a potential mentorship to develop between Jimmy G and whoever they bring in?
Not a potential mentorship per se, but this is his prove it year, basically. You need to prove that you can stay healthy. You need to prove that you're the guy that everybody thought you were going to be. You need to prove that. And if you do, cool. Let's keep rolling on this train together. But if you don't, we got a backup plan. It's smart. You don't drive a car without a spare tire. So, I think this is smart on the 49ers behalf, that they have to make sure that they're ready just in case they get the Jimmy that we've seen thus far. So, and best case scenario, they are mentally ready to move on from you, but you still go out there and you still prove it. Now you become viable for another team, but you need to get out your feelings, go out there and play the best ball you can to make sure you have a future. And if it's not with the 49ers, it'll be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. I actually want to reveal some more information about Jimmy Garoppolo. So on Monday, Jermaine Wiggins suggested that Jimmy's durability was a clear issue dating back to his time as Tom Brady's backup in New England. He said, quote, "My sources here tell me, and I didn't really want to say this, but they used to look at Jimmy G a little sideways. Like he was kind of like Mr. Glass." And I'm not talking about the Samuel L. Jackson character. They were like, can't really depend on him, can't stay on the field. Between the lines, they looked at him like, can we really count on this dude? So do you feel like his teammates on the 49ers and maybe, the front office and coaches are also viewing him as this person who's not really dependable?
People say what they say. And I think a lot of these organizations have learned that what one organization says about a guy does not necessarily mean that's the guy that you're going to get. It might just have not worked with that organization. There might have been chemistry problems. And I think if you're good at what you do, then you know that, hey, just because this is what they're saying over here doesn't mean that that's necessarily true over where we are. Now, that being said, though, he does have a problem staying healthy. I think that because of the fact that you publicly said this, now we see that you're in your feelings a lot too. And I just am of the mind that you just don't show your cards. You never let them see you sweat. That's not just a degree commercial or whatever that deodorant is. That is a thing. You never let them see that they've gotten under your skin, because now all of that comes into question. All of that becomes, okay, does he get so emotional and that's why we can't count on him? Like, you need to make sure that you put your best foot forward. So then there's no excuses. Go out there, stay healthy, don't say much, and just give them the side eye when you do what you're supposed to do. So, I don't know if that's a thing, because I would hope that, these are all professionals and they know that sometimes it's just not a good fit places, and maybe that's what was going on over there. But it's hard to say, because people do talk, and the world is very short, especially the football world. It's very, very small. So, it's hard to say, because if he's done anything at all that resembles what people are saying about him from New England, then it is going to raise those eyebrows. So then that's why you always go into a new job, and you should always have the mindset like, okay, yeah, maybe that job sucked, but I'm not going to do over here what I did over there, because I want this to be a fresh start. So hopefully he's not doing that, but it's possible with him being very upset. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
So looking at some of the reactions on Twitter, a lot of people just seem they're not taking as optimistic of a perspective as you, Jackie. Like, one person says, the writing's on the wall. The 49ers have moved on. Actions speak more than anything else in this situation. Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback for today, but not for tomorrow. He'll ask for a trade. He probably wants to go back with the Patriots, where he would be welcomed with two open arms. But based on that quote I just read, it doesn't seem like that seems a little bit contradictory, but of course, there's always conflicting rumors out there. But a lot of people seem to think, like another person says, that's a $24 million reason why the 49ers won't bring him back. They canceled his Nashville throwing sessions in February. He's been gone, and his contract isn't a deterrent for a team in a trade considering Lynch. This one's too long to read. I'm just reading them as I see them on here. But that one's really long and convoluted. I think it spanned multiple tweets, and I don't want to get into all of that. But a lot of people seem to think that, this is the writing's on the wall. Jimmy's out the door. They feel like it seems like there's even no opportunity for Jimmy to prove himself this year. Like the 49ers have already made their decision. But you disagree with that, Jackie. And normally...
I absolutely disagree, because the thing is like when you're talking about football, they might have their minds made up right now. But this is why I say shut up and go out there and do it. Because regardless of where their mind is right now, you go out there and put up some dope numbers, and all of a sudden we see the Jimmy Garoppolo that we thought existed. Minds change. So especially in football, because then it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, shoot. We can keep this kid over here on this rookie contract forever until it's time for you to, move on. So minds can change, but they change by your level of play. And he has not gone out there and played at that level to change anyone's minds yet. That's why people think this, because they haven't seen it. But if we see it, now it's a different conversation.
Another little interesting update, Kyle Shanahan admitted that the 49ers will be listening to trade offers for Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy has heard that and, catching wind of all of this, I'm sure would get to anybody's head. So I understand why he might be in his feelings a little bit, and why he might be unhappy, because it probably does feel like a slap in the face. I guess
I had a friend who used to work, not like a coach or anything, but was an assistant in the NFL in the front office. And he told me, he was like, I'm gonna tell you something. He's like, unless you are a superstar, we are always entertaining trade offers. We just don't talk about them. But he's like, we're always entertaining trade offers, unless you are like the face of the franchise. But no, he said no one's immune. He's like, it's not like the NBA where you really have these guys that are just literally the pillars of that team. He's like, unless you're like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady or something like that, he's like, we always entertain trade offers. Not publicly. He's like, but always. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. So...
That's very interesting. I guess we can't be surprised by that, because they're always going to want to do whatever they can to get the best team possible. And if that means keeping your options open and looking at the other talent that's out there, they are absolutely within their right to do that. It kind of is a little surprising I know that Jimmy's been injured and he hasn't been able to be this reliable player on the field, but just because his name is so popular and I feel like is so tied to the 49ers franchise, it's interesting to hear that they are entertaining these trade offers. But, I think this is going to continue developing. We'll see what happens. I hope for Jimmy's sake that he is able to really make this his prove it year, or else who knows where he'll end up. I'd be happy if he came to the Chargers. Great.
The Chargers would be happy if he came to the Chargers. Even if he sucks with the Chargers, like, Jimmy's here, we got a name. Yes.
We got a name. And then he'd be in the same city as me, so we wouldn't have to do long distance anymore, which would just be really great for both of us. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm here for it. I'm here for you and getting that dream. One of us got to live the dream. So, yes, Jimmy to the Chargers.
All right, I'm going to stop simping now. Jackie, can you take it to the post-up?
All right, let's get into the post-up. I'm just mad because I don't have anybody to simp over, so I'm just jealous, Devin. That's all that is. So, but let's.
You have LeBron.
Yes, but LeBron is married.
What about Serge Ibaka?
He eats weird food.
Oh, God. This is like a Seinfeld episode.
All right. All right, you guys, we could literally do this all morning, so let me just get into this one. So Blake is definitely one guy that I do simp for, because I've always loved Blake. He is definitely my guy, so that's going to be the guy that I'm simping. Well, until he left LA, and then it's like, okay, whatever. But the haters have always hated on Blake, and he had a nice little clapback to say, because now all we're talking about, of course, is this super team. So Blake took this moment to clap back, and he said, it's kind of funny to me because for the last couple years, I've heard how bad I am. I personally haven't heard that he's definitely declining. I do know that he's going to level up now in Brooklyn, but that's a whole different conversation. But despite this spot on quote from him, haters are still out here hating, and they probably will never stop hating, because we've learned that in our chat, that once people hate on you, they're just going to hate on you forever. So this is Mark Jackson's burner account. I need to make sure you guys see that it's a burner account. But it says, with all due respect, it's kind of funny because everyone knew you weren't trying in Detroit, and as soon as you come to Brooklyn, you want to go 100%. I don't disagree with this point, unfortunately. I don't disagree. So let's go to this next one. see how we feel about this one. Now, this is just a Detroit fan all in her feelings. She said, Detroit built for tough people. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Some people just not built to fit the culture. Okay, I don't know if I'm thinking that Blake is soft in that way, but I know Steve Nash is tired of us talking about this whole super team, and everybody seems mad about it. And we're going to get into that a little bit later and what we're not going to do. But Steve Nash had something to say about it, too. He's definitely in his feelings, and he's tired of y'all saying that they doing something crazy. He says, I don't know what we're supposed to do, not try to add to our roster and just sit back. There's the idea of this league is trying to put together the best team that you can put together, and that doesn't guarantee you anything. It's not like we did anything illegal. So that is a good point. It is a good point. It seems, back in the day, they used to block these kinds of trades. Like, you just can't have a whole squad. So now, obviously, that's not a thing. So I'm going to go to you, Devin. Do you think that the hate that Blake and the Brooklyn Nets, they're getting, do you think it's warranted?
No, but I've always been the type of person that says if you want to build this super team and you want to have this stacked roster and you have the money to do it, do it. I understand that it does create this unfair advantage, and I think the league would be a lot more fun to watch if it was more of an even playing field. But if you have the resources to make it happen, who am I to be mad at it? So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Like, even with the Warriors, with everybody being so mad at KD, it was a little bit different. But I'm still like, you know what? If he wants to go there, who cares? Like, let him go. It'll be interesting to watch them all work together and just absolutely crush it. So I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, Suleiman says, I don't like super teams. Like, it's so boring and predictable. So here's the thing about that, though. If you build this super team and then they suddenly are beaten by a team that's not considered a super team, then that's enjoyable to me, I think. I just think it's I get you, though. I feel the same way. To me, as a LeBron fan, people always blame things like this on him, which also we're going to talk about what we're not going to do. But the thing is a lot of things. Number one, you want to play with guys that you know you can play with. And number two, you want to play with guys who have that drive. And if you can make them all come together, you should just steal them before somebody else does, is what I'm saying. So I don't know. It's a lot of hate, but let's move on to this next one, because I don't know if Joe Ingles has really got the respect for Donovan Mitchell that I demand he have. This next one kind of irritated me. Take a look at this. So I don't know if you see him sitting over there looking like it's below zero in there. Why is he all bundled up like that? But then his shoes, he just like, okay. So no, not a fan of this at all. I know who he looks like, and I think this user, hopefully I put this tweet in there, but a user had my exact thought of what Joe looks like sitting over there in that chair like that. Yes. Shooing him away like Bernie Sanders to a freshman senator. Y'all remember that when Bernie was sitting with the gloves? That's exactly who he looks like, sitting there like that. Just look like Bernie Sanders. You better get some respect on my boy Donovan Mitchell's name, because I don't want to see that ever again. But
there was one tweet in here that I saw, Jackie, that says when you're all tucked in for the night and your kid asks for a glass of water, and it's so true. Like, no. Just go. I'm not. So true. I actually scrolled through this whole thing because I was waiting for somebody to, superimpose Bernie over Joe, but they didn't. They probably will by the end of this show, though, because, Twitter is always on it. But let's get into this next one, because this next one, once again, here we are. We have to have a discussion about the refs. Now, we're going to do the still shot for you so you guys can kind of see exactly what happened. This is the last play in the UConn versus Baylor game. Baylor ended up losing by 2 points. So take a look at this. And the foul was not called here. Is this a foul? To me, hell yeah, that's a foul. You can't just be straight molesting me like that. Why are you all on the whole squad? It's just, to me, this is a definite foul.
Devin, what do you think? Just looking at it, is it a foul?
It looks like a foul to me, and I wonder how they justified it not be. How would anyone justify it not being one?
Yeah, I don't know, but it was a definite no foul. I do have one user who said, I kind of agree. This is definitely a foul, though. There's just no way. Her whole face is like, so this gentleman says, seeing this, yes, it's a foul, but there were things that could have been done on Baylor's end that could have prevented this. I agree with that, because anytime you lose by 2 points and you're dependent on a foul to kind of get you over that hump, there's things you could have done in the game. I know they missed a couple free throws earlier, and they missed a couple of shots late in the game as well. All of that could have played into this, but it didn't. So they ended up losing. That being said, because of this loss, Baylor's head coach, Kim Mulkey, was trying to get smart in this presser, but it's an epic fail for me, because I don't know. There's a user that says something about this after. I'm going to show you this tweet, because I understand. Once I kind of looked into this woman, I think I understand what she's doing. I don't think she's literally having a moment where she's losing her mind, although it looks like it. I think she's calculated. But take a look at this.
When Dejanay drove the ball from where you were standing,
What did you see?
I was surprised they didn't call a foul.
Then write it like that. You don't need a quote
Girl.
from me. I've got steel.
Is she drunk?
Right. Like, what like, because you see. Like, that's what it looks like. Like that. Yeah, it's like, yeah, too many shots. And it just, that's what I saw. And I was like, what is wrong with this chick? But then this user posted this, and this spawned, y'all know I like to investigate stuff. So then it spawned my investigative skills, and it says she's messing with the mask as a way of saying, ugh, they're so oppressive and inconvenient. I did this when I was 12. So I was like, well, why would she say this? Why would she use the mask as a way to be like, oh, these are so oppressive? Well, I found out why. So she actually, in this same press conference, she made this long thing of saying, hey, it would be terrible for kids to not be able to play because of COVID. So I'm just going to read this quote from her. She said, they need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing, and then you got kids out here testing positive for something like that, and then they can't even play in the Final Four. So you just need to forget the COVID test altogether and get the 4 teams playing in the Final Four battle. I think this whole was her way of protesting the COVID test. Devin, when you hear her make that same quote later in her speech, does that make sense?
It does make sense. It absolutely makes sense. And I don't know. Yep, I agree with you 100%. I saw another one in there that said I lost it now. But there was another tweet that I wanted to read out that said something else funny about her having this rage and anger, and she was messing with the mask to try and also like mask all of the emotions that she was feeling. So clearly we're reading into the mask situation a lot here, but I think that each one of these has a little bit of validity.
Yes, and let me tell you something. When that mask almost got caught on her eyelash, I was like, oh God, please let that eyelash come off on that mask, because I'm going to laugh for the rest of the week at this woman, but it didn't. Dang it. Got some good glue. All right, let's move on to this next one, because this next one is hilarious to me. It's probably not going to be hilarious to me for the same reason that it is to you, but Dion Marquise Hayes, you guys, if you follow hip hop at all, you know him as 42 Doug, and he's from Detroit, right? But apparently he's a Nets fan. So here's the thing. I just want to take a moment and talk to these rappers and say, y'all need to come up with some more original names. Don't just throw Little in front of your name, or Lil or whatever, because it's confusing to people who don't really follow hip hop. And if you out here standing all of like 5'2", 5'3", they're going to assume you Lil somebody. So listen to the commentators. Again, this is 42 Doug, but listen to what they call him when they see James Harden talking to him.
It's tonight, Lil Baby.
Got everyone in the house tonight.
Oh man,
Lil Baby,
gotta love
Lil
it.
Kim.
Lil Baby, Lil Kim.
None of this is positive. They think that you're little because you're little, so they call you Lil Baby, just as James Harden has to bend down because you little. This is the disrespect that this poor guy got is hilarious to me. And of course, Twitter was going to add to the disrespect. Says Harden really hit him with the, so what do you want to do when you grow up, Dougie? This. Okay, this next one is good too. He said James Harden just did 42 Doug. This person actually knows who it is. A horrible moment for short kings everywhere. This is Devin, since you're our resident short person. If James Harden had bent over and was like, "Hey, little Devin," like, how would you have felt about that?
Well, I think honestly that kind of thing happens to me on, somewhat regularly anyway. So I wouldn't be upset. But if I was a man, since I know that for men, a lot of the ego is tied up in their height, I would be, if I were 42 Doug in that moment, I would have been like, no man, stand up. Like, stop leaning down. I don't want people to see this. So I would be upset about that. But as a girl, it happens all the time.
This whole thing was hilarious to me. I'm fairly tall too, so sometimes when I talk to shorter people, I do have to sit down because my neck starts hurting. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're just looking down, and you're either, and it's not. Sometimes you don't even think about it. Sometimes it's just your body saying, "This position ain't working out for me, and we got to get closer." So sometimes it literally is an accident. It's not meant to be disrespectful. Doug says, "Is Devin short? Devin, how tall are you?"
Yeah, I'm 5'2". So I mean, like, I'm short. But it's sort of like an average height, I think, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'm 5'11", so I'm the tall one in the crew. But yeah, so I'm not mad at James Harden going, man, I've been playing this whole game, and let me lean down here. My back hurts. Like, so not mad at all. This is probably way funnier to me. But anyway, let's move on to this next one, because this next one I like for a lot of reasons as well. This is a weird way to leak out that you might be getting signed to another team. But so Rashad Coward, he's a restricted free agent right now. And so his wife, this is the best part of this story. His wife is a gamer. So she is playing Call of Duty Warzone, and she's just playing with some random guy who happens to be eavesdropping to Rashad in the background. And he hears Rashad discussing a potential deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then that guy leaked it on Reddit. So first of all, mind your business. Second of all, what if it hadn't happened? And then now you just leaked all this business. That's ridiculous. So but luckily it did happen. So we've got this first tweet that comes out that lets us know, Ian Rappaport let us know that former Bears outside linebacker Rashad Coward is a restricted free agent who was not tendered. He is expected to sign with the Steelers, sources said. A former DL who worked his way into the starting lineup on offense, Coward now lands in Pittsburgh. So that is dope. Good to know that this actually worked out, because otherwise this person would have leaked something and then they would have moved on. But then his Coward's agent actually confirmed, because I was like, is his wife really a gamer? Was it her on the game, or was it him? Nope. His agent confirmed. He says, I can confirm that O'Tally is an entertaining gamer, and y'all should follow her on all her platforms. So this woman is a gamer. I personally have never met a female gamer who was that intense that you're like really just into it all the time and you got a whole platform about it. I know they're out there, and when I see them, I love them, because I've never personally met one, and I've always wanted to be a gamer. I just don't have the time. So shouts out on being a gamer, sis. I love this. All right, so I have a new thing on my bucket list, you guys, and this next one is going to make perfect sense to you. So LeBron James was obviously getting another tattoo. It's one thing to say that you tattooed the king. It's another thing to say the king tattooed you. So let you take a look at this really quickly. LeBron James is tattooing his tattoo artist. So I did want an autograph signature as my tattoo. I still want that, but now I want LeBron just to do it. That would be dope. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but really quickly, because I saw some people in the chat, in the tweet underneath this, like, oh my God, LeBron James, why is he doing that with his left hand? Apparently this is not common knowledge. I thought it was common knowledge. LeBron James is actually left-handed. I don't know how you guys didn't know that, but yes, he is actually left-handed. He says that he started playing with his right hand because Penny Hardaway and Michael Jordan were right-handed, and he thought it was dope. But then his Pee-wee coach told him, if you can't do a left-handed layup, then you're trash, basically. So he's actually ambidextrous, but he is left-handed. So I saw a lot of people not know that. So I just wanted to. You should just ask me. Y'all know I would have known. You just asked me. Anyway, so let's move on this next
Hey,
one.
Jack,
Go ahead,
you
Devin.
have to get this. You have to get this done. We have to figure out a way for LeBron to not. You know what? I think LeBron should do the signature autograph tattoo on you.
I do too. That would just, man,
Like
that would mean
it would mean
everything
a
to me.
lot.
I'd be like,
Right? I was just gonna say it would mean a lot to you. For me, I don't have any tattoos. I would be, even if it was LeBron, I would be like, do you know what you're doing? I would be so nervous. So what if it ends up looking like crap? But I think you would
I
love it
wouldn't
no
even
matter
care.
what. So,
I wouldn't care. I put it inside of my wrist, and people be like, "What the hell is that?" LeBron did it. I'd be so. It wouldn't even matter to me. It'd be like, look at this. I would be so excited. It wouldn't even matter. We could have somebody from the Fumble there filming it. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. I would play that video on repeat. Our producer yesterday sent me this thing where it's like you can FaceTime with LeBron. It's not even real, but trust me when I tell you, I did it like 8 times last night and twice this morning already, just to feel like he's on the other end of the phone, even though I know he's not. It's just a mind trip, you guys. Don't judge me. Anyway, we are going to move on now because I know all of y'all are probably judging me right now. But this one is filled with so much love, and you just really, really love to see it because we know what Karl Anthony Towns went through this year with the COVID and losing so many of his family members. But his dad was at the game, and so he tweeted this out. Which we actually love to see because he says, "This man right here means the world plus some to me. Love you, Pops." And that is just a dope thing to see. Twitter, I love this response from this one fan. And he said, because this is really the kind of thing you like to see, that human aspect. And he said, he'll never see this, but Karl Anthony Towns, you are a strong dude to keep going considering how personal this pandemic got to your family. I hope one day playing basketball can bring you the joy you used to have before the tragedy your family has endured. That's the kind of thing that I like to hear people say, like, put some human aspect to everybody, no matter if they're basketball players, they make a ton of money or whatever. This is the kind of thing I absolutely love to see. And then, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, he had a quote about it as well. He said, it was really the first time having family watch me playing in person. And it's crazy seeing my dad. I'm like, where's my mom? She gonna come? And obviously she's not gonna show up. That affected me. But I go out there and play the best I can for this team. Like, and I know that is how that is. And for those of you who have not ever lost anyone, that's a beautiful thing. But when my dad passed, I would still pick up the phone to call him because, you know, you're in a routine. You talk to somebody every day and you're just in that routine. So I know how that feels to look into the stand and be like, well, where's my mom at? So shouts out to him and shouts out to the fans that just poured so much love to him after he posted that. I love each and every one of you guys because that is a beautiful thing. So I love that. Mm-hmm. This next one, I don't love this next one at all because I feel like common sense is not that common. I don't understand because, see, here's the thing. Just like I said, oh, I love everybody when they love and they put love out there. This is one of those situations where I don't want anything bad to happen to these people. But if it did, I can't be surprised. Look at where they're playing volleyball.
Why?
Okay, so when I first saw the tweet, I was like, okay, that's not real. You know, because, you know, you got all these apps now that put stuff in the background. I was like, okay, that's not real. Y'all, watch the video. Watch the video. I get that it's a baby volcano. I get it.
I don't want to even be near a baby volcano. Yeah, I don't want to be close to any volcano that's erupting. No, thank you.
And it's not like y'all are at a safe distance where in case it decides it wants to be a grown-up or at least a teenage volcano, y'all can run. Y'all right beside it, not paying any attention, playing volleyball. Make this make sense for me. Make it make sense for me.
Very weird. People will do anything for the views. Does it have enough views to justify this? Let's see, 168,000 views. Not nearly enough to justify being that close to a volcano. I wish I knew.
I need to find their first video because the comment on the tweet said, hey, the last video we posted went viral, so we want to post this. So is this more intense or less intense than the last video is what I need to know. I know I usually investigate stuff, but this kind of irritated me because the stupidity of it all. So I just skipped it and I did not investigate this nonsense. But yeah, so Okay, y'all, do you the casual volleyball game by the volcano. All right, that's fine. All right, so let's really quickly get into this one. You guys, I want you to share your thoughts with me on this. I know, let me rephrase that. Don't share your immediate thoughts with me. Share your thoughts after I share some information with you. Don't just channel your inner LeBron haterade. Channel some logic, okay? Because Stephen A. Smith, who is just, Stephen A. Smith, he says what he says. We can't really get on him too hard for that because he's always looking for that soundbite. But he says that this super team that is the Brooklyn Nets is all LeBron James's fault. And I understand that. I understand that everybody wants to blame everything on LeBron James. But let me just get into his quote and as to what he said exactly. I think I have that so we can post it up. Maybe I didn't. But he's got this whole quote where he says that if it wasn't for LeBron James, LeBron James did the super team when he went to Miami, and then he created another super team when he went to Cleveland. That those two super teams are not, in my opinion, not the same, because we're talking about one or two guys. And on top of that, what we're not going to do is not have this short-term memory. You guys got to really kind of look. This is not a new thing. Super teams are not a new thing at all. And so what we're not going to do is blame this on LeBron, because in the entire history of the NBA, there has always been some type of super team. Nobody has really won a championship and you've only talked about one guy. That's not how this goes. Wilt Chamberlain had Jerry West and Gail Goodrich. Magic Johnson had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, and Byron Scott. Larry Bird had Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, and Dennis Johnson. So it's not. I don't understand why people think that this is a thing. Yes, we had The Last Dance. Yes, we saw Michael Jordan in all his glory and blah, blah, blah. But we all know that he couldn't have done it without Scottie Pippen. He even admits that. He couldn't have done it without Scottie Pippen, and he had Horace Grant and Bill Cartwright. It wasn't, this is not new. You guys, this is the building of a super team is not new. If you're a Laker fan, you know that we had a super team. It's so funny to me still that I say we now, but the Lakers, we had a super team in 2004 with Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton. So I'm just confused as to why everybody's like, oh yeah, LeBron did it first, and so now the Nets are trying to build, this is all LeBron's fault. He created the super team. He did not. In 2008, the Celtics had Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. This is not a LeBron James fault. I get it. LeBron is still playing at a very high level considering his age. And now you have AD in there. And then when you see what the Lakers did last season, and everybody was expecting the Clippers technically last season were a super team, right? Let's just be clear about it. They were a super team. The Nets right now, a super team. I'm mad about it because I'm a LeBron fan and now I'm a Laker fan. So yes, I'm mad about that. But not only is our super teams been a thing before, super teams have lost in the past. But super teams have always been a thing. They're always going to be a thing. Long after Kevin, KD, Kyrie, Blake, all them retire, long after LeBron and AD retires, people are going to still be making super teams. So you're trying to tell me in 6 years, once LeBron is sitting at home drinking his wine, y'all going to blame the next super team on LeBron? Stop it. I don't know how y'all keep blaming this stuff on LeBron. LeBron cannot be to blame for everything. So just take your little LeBron hater hat off, sit it to the side, and really think about this logically. Was he the first one to build a super team? No. Are the Nets going to be the last one to build a super team? No. It's the way of the NBA. And if you can do it, like Devin said, if you've got the money to do it and you can make it happen and you can make all the right pieces fall, if you could get a super starting team and a starting bench, I would not be mad. He says Clippers were not a super team. You don't live in LA, right? So you don't know how everybody was like, yeah, they're the super team. They're the team to beat. Everybody said that. Every single sports show said the Clippers were the team to beat. The Clippers were the ones that were going to have this battle of LA with the Lakers and come out victorious and go to the finals because their squad was stacked. Everybody said that. We can change our tune now, and I'm fine with that because that's what people do. But let's not pretend that we didn't call the Clippers the team to beat. We're calling the Nets the team to beat now. That's a factual statement. Next season, we'll probably call another team the team to beat, especially if Brooklyn doesn't win. But don't blame these super teams on LeBron. They've been happening since the dawn of the NBA. Okay? That's all I got to say. Devin, do you agree? Do you think that the super team is all LeBron's fault?
No, people love to blame LeBron for things just because he is like the face of the NBA. He's an easy target. It's easy for people to be like, yeah, LeBron, whatever, Le Flop, whatever they like to say. People are so annoying. They always want to blame LeBron for these things, but it's not true. Julio Rivera in the chat said something, and I wanted to get your response to it. He said, yes, you are right about super teams existing before LeBron, but that was done by trades and good drafts from management, not players like LeBron did. So what do you have to say about that?
That's not entirely true, because when the Lakers, that 2004 team was built. The 2008 Celtics team was built. Jordan getting Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, that was by design. That had nothing to do. That was a desire from one specific person to make that happen, and it happened. So that's not entirely correct. People have long since, and I've told y'all this before. I'm gonna tell you one more time. The All-Star game is the tampering. Should call it tampering city, because this is where guys figure out who they like, who they think they can play with, and this is where conversations start. So no, that's not entirely correct. Super teams have existed because players have wanted to win, and if it hasn't been the players, it's been the front office have wanted to win since the dawn of the NBA. This is not new information. It's just that because we followed LeBron from high school to the NBA, and we've been following him ever since, we've had this magnifying glass on him and every move he makes. It's not because he's making new moves. It's because we have this magnifying glass on him, and it's totally different.
I am doing a story. I'm actually going to record it as soon as we're done with our live show here about Steph and LeBron James. So after these two teamed up for the All-Star game, people were excited to see them together. I feel like the energy that they created was really actually remarkable and super fun to watch. And it had me thinking how amazing it would be, and I know I'm not alone in this, to see these two together on the Lakers. Steph is actually up for a contract extension this summer, and Brian Windhorst said that he says that LeBron has been attempting to recruit Steph since the All-Star game, and that he's been really like doing that as much as he can.
This is what I said. You see these things happen. You see the light bulb go off for guys,
Yeah.
Hey, we played against each other for so long, but now we're playing together and we're actually really dope together. You can literally see in the All-Star game the light bulbs and the wheels start turning. If y'all want tampering to stop, you need to kill the All-Star game. Don't do that, because I love the All-Star game. But yeah, the moment I saw them playing together and Steph was fascinated by the chalk and they were just compliment after compliment after compliment, I was like, okay, I'm going to just sit back. I'm going to watch. I'm telling y'all.
Yep, and we've seen that happen before with the All-Star game and All-Star weekend in general. That is for sure the time when players do come together. I think that's when we started feeling like KD and Kyrie were going to be teaming up together. That's where it all started. It's where it happened. But yeah, so that's the latest rumor, and I think that people are paying attention to it more because it is LeBron James. But there are a lot of people who are responding to the tweets about this, saying like, that's not going to happen. Steph's not leaving. Steph won't ever join the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. I know this is kind of off topic, but Jackie, what do you think the likelihood is of Steph actually making the jump to LA?
I don't think you should ever anticipate what anyone is going to do, especially when they get older and later on in their career. The Warriors for sure right now are in a rebuilding phase, and that's going to take some time. Steph is older now. So the question shouldn't be, will he end up in LA? The question should be, is he okay with the amount of time that it will take for the Warriors to get back to who they were? Or is winning a ring right now more important? And can he see that happening if he goes somewhere else? That should be the real question, because loyalties only happen until they don't happen. Teams change, minds change, people change. And if he feels like there's a viable opportunity to go win a ring somewhere else, I can easily see him doing that. I'm not going to just say automatically that's the Lakers, but I'm saying he's later in his career now. The Warriors have a few steps that they need to take. And so now, yes, I do believe he's going to entertain options. And so people need to understand that most guys like Steph, like that commercial that we saw yesterday, the CarMax commercial where he was like, well, I'm working on it. I think that's a real statement from him. He wants to continue his rise. He wants to continue adding to his resume. And if he doesn't think he can do that with the Warriors, I think leaving is definitely an option for him.
I think so too. I don't think it's out of the question. I know a lot of people think that he is just loyal forever to the Golden State Warriors, but I just don't necessarily see it. Jackie, did something happen in the chat?
Jeremiah needs to go into stand-up comedy because this guy, he said, how are we rebuilding? How are you not? You holding up the rest of the league. Like, what are you...
I think we just need to ignore what Jeremiah says because he's always mad about something in the chat. He hates the opinions that we have. Jeremiah, why do you watch? Why do you watch? It seems like you can't stand anything
LeBron.
we say.
It's LeBron. It's not LeBum because bums don't spark the hatred in people like you. And if they're bums, only kings can do that, sir. So get it together.
True. Yes, best clapback ever. And on that note, I think it's time we wrap up this show, you guys. So we're going to be back again at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So don't forget to tune in, subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we will see you guys later. Have a great Taco Tuesday. We hope you eat some delicious food. Bye, guys.